Welcome to Recently Logged, where Lin-Manuel Miranda is once again the worst singer in his own project.
Classic move.
I mean, it is for him.
Wow. Well, hello everyone.
Hi.
Here we are.
Here we are now.
We sound a little low energy.
Entertain us.
Just a little low energy. Yeah, it smells like Teen Spirit in the studio today.
Does it?
Apparently.
I don't know about that. It smells like teen tiredness.
Apparently. A teen lack of sleep, which is a trademark of the teenage years.
Exactly. So we're really hitting it up.
Wow. Well, welcome to Recently Logged, as we already said.
Yeah, I literally just said that.
Today we're talking about a movie.
Yeah, we are.
And it's a very special movie.
I like to think so.
It's a movie called In the Heights,
based off of the Broadway musical by the same name.
The hit Broadway smash.
The hit Broadway smash. Pretty sure it won a Tony Award or something.
Did it?
I think it won a couple.
I don't keep up with the Tonys. I found out yesterday that the Book of Mormon won a Tony.
Doesn't surprise me.
I don't remember what for.
But yeah, this musical was Lin-Manuel Miranda's first Broadway musical.
Yeah, I was about to say not his first project, but yes, his first Broadway musical.
It blew up, and the funding from this went to go fund Hamilton.
Wow. It's like a classic Whiplash La La Land situation.
Yeah, it's like a Whiplash.
You do
La
the
La
project that you're not as enthusiastic about to fund the project that you really want to do.
Who said he wasn't enthusiastic?
Well, I mean, it's not that he wasn't enthusiastic about In the Heights. That you do a project, you get successful, so you can go do another project.
Yeah. I was about to say this one seems more personal than Hamilton.
Well, that's true. But then again, Lynn's a huge history buff.
That's
so
true.
Maybe who knows, Micah? Who knows which is more personal?
Anyway,
are you friends with him?
Maybe
Chatting it up?
Maybe I am.
I'm a little hurt that you wouldn't have introduced me.
Anyway, let's get into the basic facts of the movie. In the Heights.
The movie In the Heights.
All right, so In the Heights, it's a 2021 movie.
Wow.
It's rated PG-13. It's 2 hours and 23 minutes. Its little IMDb description is a film version of the Broadway musical in which Usnavi, a sympathetic New York bodega owner, saves every penny every day. Every penny every day, as he imagines and sings about a better life.
Yes. I mean, yeah, essentially.
I mean, that's a very basic description.
Yeah, that's like the premise.
It's cast. You got Anthony Ramos, Corey Hawkins, Leslie Grace, Melissa Barrera, I think is how you say her name.
Probably.
Olga Merediz. I don't know how you'd say her last name.
Merediz? I don't know. Something like that.
Jimmy Smits and Gregory Diaz. I think that's 4 in Roman numerals.
Yes, it is the 4th. It's like, you should have just said welcome to Recently Logged, where it's just a couple of white guys trying to pronounce the names the entire time.
Right. We need culture.
I was about to say, this happens every episode.
It's directed by Jon M. Writers, you got Lin-Manuel.
Wow, who would have thought?
And I don't even know where to start with this guy's name. Oh, this girl's name.
Wow, bold of you to assume, Mike.
Yeah, well.
I don't know. I have all of this stuff down in the description if you guys just want to read it real quick.
Yeah.
I don't even know why we still do this
because I enjoy this segment. I think it's a good intro. I just am terrible at pronouncing names, which is interesting.
Which you didn't even mention that the guy who directed this did Crazy Rich Asians.
Well,
that's his big other film.
But did you know that he started his career by directing Justin Bieber stuff?
I did not know that. I don't think I needed to know that.
Yeah, he directed
like a bunch of
Justin Bieber Believe, Justin Bieber, I think it's like Beauty and Beaver, Never Say Never.
Oh my gosh.
He was a music guy.
Like Scorsese.
He directed And Now You See Me Too.
Oh no.
And,
Really?
G.I. Joe.
Oh gosh. Okay.
But he directed In the Heights.
Well, he also directed this, so okay. It's all fine, I guess. But yeah. We're gonna talk about it. Here we are.
Yeah.
I guess let's get into our opening thoughts about the movie. What we thought of the film In the Heights.
The basic thoughts.
Opening thoughts.
Basic. So, Robbie, after a very long break.
Yes.
We just had a pretty sizable break in between segments, but after a very long...
I mean, it was like 20 minutes or something.
What are your basic thoughts on In the Heights?
In the Heights. I think to preface this, I should say I've never seen the Broadway show. I've only listened to the soundtrack once or twice, which I do like. I don't like it quite as much as Hamilton, but I feel like that's pretty common. But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not exactly a theater kid.
Wow.
I just know a few. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the movie. It's definitely been one of my favorites of the year. I'm a sucker for a good musical, obviously. For anyone who knows my taste in movies. But yeah,
his favorite movie is There Will Be Blood. You can't get more musical than that.
Can't get more musical than that, obviously. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's fun. Really, where it shines mostly is in its musical numbers. I feel like most people would agree on that. Like the direction and choreography are all really great. They mesh really well in all of the musical numbers in this. But a lot of the problems I have with it come down to its story pacing, which I have a problem with. Well, like I said, I haven't seen the show, but the soundtrack I always thought had a bit of a odd bit of pacing to it. But obviously I'm missing a lot of dialogue scenes and stuff in that. But I don't know, the movie just has an odd sort of energy to it when it's not singing. And I'm not a super huge fan of that. And none of the emotional beats really hit me that hard. I mean, obviously the ending was sweet and all, but...
Wow.
Just, I don't know.
Spoilers for In the Heights. Not even when Abuela dies.
I mean, like, sure, but, like, I wasn't... It didn't destroy me, Micah.
Wow.
I'm just saying none of them really hit, like, that hard. Like, obviously I cared, but not as deeply as I could have. Like, Hamilton almost gets me crying every time I listen to it. This never really has. But, I mean... it's not a necessary comparison. It's just, I don't think the emotional beats hit as well as they could in the movie. And I think that's partially due to some of the performances I'm not a huge fan of, but some of that is also due to, like I said, some of the dialogue scenes, actual direction and editing is kind of odd too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's what I generally think about In the Heights. I like it. I gave it a 3.5. I gave it a 4 when I first watched it. 3.5 on a second watch. I could probably go back and forward all day on what I want to rate it. But yeah, no, I liked it. One of my favorites of the year.
So yeah, for me, like I've always been a huge In the Heights fan. Probably, honestly, more so than Hamilton.
Really?
Hamilton probably is better written overall. Like, definitely better written overall.
I was about to say definitely.
Even just from a soundtrack standpoint for the musicals. But, like, I've always just really, really liked the sound and the story that In the Heights has.
I suppose.
So I was really...
Definitely a bigger fan of it than I was, ever.
So I was really excited to get, like a movie adaptation and everything. Because I think it is one of the more, like way, way, way more so than Hamilton, a musical that pretty well fits the movie, like... medium.
Yeah, no, a Hamilton movie like this would have been so weird.
Yeah. But
so
like,
weird.
In the Heights actually pretty darn well fits a movie medium. They
Fits
do
a stage medium better.
they do rearrange and change some things
Yes.
from the musical,
That is
but
true.
honestly, I don't really want to compare that too much. I know some people who are like, it objectively makes it worse.
I mean, it cheapens some of the stuff that happens in it, but like you can't. I wouldn't
from a
expect it.
standalone like viewpoint though. I know nobody who has a problem with like the story,
Yeah, just
itself.
if you're just talking about the movie itself, not comparing it to the stage
which is
play,
kind of more
then-
what I want to do.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing because I've never seen the stage play on
Yeah.
like performed. I've only heard the music from it.
But I really like the movie. I like most of the cast quite a bit. I actually like Anthony Ramos more as Usnavi than Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh yeah, no,
'cause,
I love him as Usnavi way more.
again, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, freaking talented. He could write music.
Very talented man.
Like nobody's business, but he's really not the greatest singer.
Yeah.
So I really actually like was a big fan of that. I like a lot of the songs in this just to listen to actually more than listening to the musical soundtrack, like the Broadway musical soundtrack.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, this movie is really visually interesting. Even during dialogue, I liked the visuals. I think it's got a really fun vibe for it. Like it really captures that kind of New York summer feeling.
I suppose.
And
Coming from someone who's never been to
yeah,
New York
exactly.
during summer.
Exactly.
Or at all.
Exactly.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know, like I just really, really liked the songs. The choreography was great. I liked most of the acting. Like I gave this 4. I do have some problems with it, with the pacing and with some of the direction and editing, similar to Robbie.
Yeah.
But for me, it wasn't as big of a deal. I think I gave it a solid 4. I wanted to give it a 4.5, but I just don't think I could personally give it that 4.5.
Yeah. I could never see giving this above a 4. But that's just me.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get into the main discussion now, Mike, the actual meat.
The meat. What do we call it? The meat every episode.
It's the meat of the podcast.
Just change the subject, the segment. Call it the meat.
Just rename the segment the meat.
Yeah.
I don't know if that gives the wrong impression. I don't know.
On the YouTube version, it's gonna just pop up this little cartoon steak.
Wow.
It's gonna smile and say the meat.
The meat. Like an Arby's commercial. So, Micah.
They're lying.
What are you talking about?
They're lying.
What?
I looked it up, and they just say
Oh
it
my
goes back to
gosh.
the first pattern, and you can just attack Thunderbolt Ganon like normal, but it's a lie.
Why are you looking at Breath of the Wild cheat codes, Mike?
I'm not looking up cheat codes. It's a lie. They're lying.
Wow. Well, I think maybe we should talk about the movie that we're talking about today instead of your Breath of the Wild troubles.
Nah.
So,
We should do a Breath of the Wild episode on the podcast.
I mean, once I play it, I'll be sure to give my thoughts. So, Micah,
Yes.
what did you think of In the Heights from one specific point of reference?
What specific point of reference?
From its songs, baby.
Do.
It's a weird way to lead into it, but
So
we
yeah,
are.
I actually really, really liked the songs in this. I really liked the cast for like singing of the songs to the point that I would probably choose to listen to these, even though they're mixed a little differently. Like you said, when we watched it the second time, they like bass boost every song.
They literally just took the song, put Anthony Ramos as the lead, and then they were like, turn up the bass as high as it can go.
There's a little bit different production design for it, but I think they obviously had to do that for the movie, otherwise it would have been really weird. And like, I don't know, I just enjoy listening to a lot of them more this way. And like you said, like for the finale, the intro for the finale, how sick that like record skip
A lot of
into
the musical transitions in this are quite good.
Yeah, like the record skip into the finale song is so good. Like, and I think the only song I was actually disappointed in is In the Heights, the opening number.
I don't know why.
Because that's like my favorite song.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite musical songs ever.
It's really good.
And in the Broadway opening, it all flows so well.
Well, yeah.
And in this, it does not. I don't think I could listen
it's
to
a
this
little
one.
clunky, but it's not awful. Jeez.
And they changed some of the dialogue inside the song too, and it doesn't work at all.
It works. It wouldn't have worked with the old dialogue in the movie.
Well, yeah, it's because they changed stuff in the show. But
Yes.
still,
They had to change the dialogue.
but still, like, it just doesn't flow as well. Like, it just bothers me so much, and the fact, like, where do they cut the song up, and it just. It makes me sad. That's the musical number I was most excited about. And The Heights is my favorite musical number in, like, the whole soundtrack. And I thought it was the most disappointing out of any of them.
Dang. Honestly, I strongly disagree. I think the intro we got was a great intro for the movie itself. Like, obviously they had to change some things for, like, it's not on the stage anymore, and they reference the stage, like, twice in the song or something.
Yeah, but it's worse now.
Wow. I don't know. Like, sure, like I said, the transitions between sections are clunkier, but it's also introducing us to a lot more information than the stage one is, you know?
Nope. It's worse subjectively. What do you think was your favorite song in it?
Favorite
to keep
song?
in the song. Like, in total, not just lyrically, but, like, for the movie standards.
Like, my favorite musical number.
Yeah, your favorite musical
I was
number.
about to say, there's a difference between favorite song and favorite musical number. I might have to go with 96,000. Probably 96,000. It's really good. Either that or the finale, maybe.
Finale, really?
Or the Abuela's song. I don't remember the name of it. I never remember the name of it.
If I can, I was about to say if I not butcher Spanish for a second.
you need to learn some foreign languages, Micah.
I can pronounce it, but I'm always so nervous too. I'm like,
I see. You just have to jump into it, never look back. But yes, no, that one is really good too, especially like in the movie. The
cinematography in
the
that
production design
in that song
looks amazing.
Is so good.
Yeah.
I think that is where it looks the best in the whole movie.
Probably. I would either say 96,000 or that probably are the best looking sections of the whole movie.
Because, see, I like 96,000, but I'm really not that big of a fan, like, on a personal level, of just, like, the in the pool choreography. I've never been a big fan of in the pool choreography.
I think it's cool. I like it when they go underwater, Micah.
Well, yeah, that was cool, but just like the splashing around, even during Sunny's part of the song, you can barely see Sunny because they're splashing so much.
Is that why you don't like the party scene from La La Land, Micah?
No, it's definitely
too much splashing.
Oh yeah. It's terrible. I love that scene.
Too much splashy, not enough flashing.
Obviously, the best song in the whole musical, though, is Piragua. It's objectively
the best.
I mean,
I don't think so.
Like, it's the only one with just Lin-Manuel Miranda's name on it, so it must be the best.
It must be the best one. I see.
No, I think my favorite song, like my favorite numbers in it, would probably be 96,000 or Piensa. See, I messed
Pacienza.
it up. Yeah, I know. I just try not to say it because I feel like I'm gonna mess it up.
Okay.
Those are probably the three best, though. The finale.
Yeah, no, they are. Well, I just wish the finale had a bit more, like, actually, like, if it was actually a musical number, Yeah,
like
it's only a musical number for like 40 seconds at the end.
I really liked just some honorable mentions, though. I really like Benny's Dispatch.
Breathe is good. Yeah.
Blackout is a fun song.
I'm still not a fan of Blackout. I didn't like it in the stage version. I still don't like this one either. I'm not a huge fan of the Blackout plot point either. I don't like the way it goes about catalyzing its third act. But that's just a qualm I have with the musical in general. But
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And I think it works a little less well in the movie. But again, I don't really want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Compare.
Exactly. Yeah, we haven't seen it, but I've just never been a fan of the Blackout plot point in general.
All right, so what do you think of the Blackout plot point? Oh my God. To move on to another question.
I just think it's kind of a weird way to catalyze conflict amongst everyone.
I think the reason I don't think it works that great here,
It just feels like weak sauce every time it happens.
Is that they don't build around it very well. Like, they're not building the conflict to have anything to do with the blackout. So you're building up conflict, blah, 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 all your different characters and plot points.
And it just feels like
we black out. And that could work, but it does feel like a little bit of like a weak catalyst for a lot of things.
It feels like it should be something more related to what is going on. Like, obviously, the whole, like, summer heat thing... it's a thing, but like
and obviously like blackouts, the heat, that's all like actual real life stuff.
But
as a story,
I just wish like it was a little more related to what was going on with everyone, you know?
Because like and like why should that even personally affect Usnavi? Like it doesn't in the show, like in the movie, I should say. Like, Usnavi he shuts down the store, but that doesn't even seem to affect him.
I know,
too
right?
much,
It was just like,
which I thought they were like super tight on money.
I know, right? Like in the show, they're always like, "Oh, we're gonna close. We gotta close our doors."
It's actually really interesting, though. I thought about this because like he just bought theoretically the bar in Puerto Rico, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the store.
I thought it was in the Dominican Republic.
I mean, why do I always think it's Puerto Rico when it's the Dominican Republic for Usnavi? I always think of Puerto Rico first.
I don't know. I don't know why, Micah. I can't explain why.
Anyway, he just bought the bar in the Dominican Republic. Yes. He's got the store. A line in the song 96,000, I think he's like, it would take like half to get me out of financial ruin, but then when he gets the 96,000, he gives it all to Sunny and still is like, yeah,
baby.
I was like, it's not a qualm, I just thought it was funny. Like, but yeah, it does like tie into the whole like in the blackout thing, like and because they spend so little time really in the blackout.
Yeah.
Like, I always thought that was weird.
Did they shorten the blackout song? Because I remember it being longer in, like,
I think they might have.
Stage one. I don't know. They might have.
But they do the Carnaval del Barrio.
Yeah.
And then they go from that immediately to Nina and Benny's song after the blackout.
Yeah.
Like, and it's been, like, it cuts to, like, 30 days since blackout or something.
It's weird. I don't know. A lot of the stuff right around the middle of this movie, I think, is really odd. Just because they had to include stuff from the stage play. And, like, I don't know. I don't feel like it flows all that well as a movie.
Yeah, I think that section from, even from the beginning of the dinner, between all of them.
I don't know. The dinner scene's pretty good.
Well, the dinner scene's good, but
yeah.
But yeah, from the dinner to the switch after the blackout to Benny and Nina's song, the one they dance on and set the building on. That I think is the worst paced section of the whole movie.
Yeah, it feels really weird, really choppy.
Like, and especially that jump, because like the blackout's like this big thing, this big culmination of stuff, and then that cut from no blackout, like from blackout to no blackout power wise, and like nothing happened. Like nobody's like, yeah, we got power back. Everybody's just kind of like, yep.
Oh,
I sure wish we, like, and Nina's like, I sure wish we, like, if she hadn't said that, I wish we were still in the blackout thing, I would have been like, what? Because like in the movie, they just don't do anything with that. Like the blackout just kind of.
Yeah, they had a lot more time.
Out.
They had a lot more time to actually deal with the consequences of it in the. Well, I'm assuming in the stage play. It is considerably longer than this.
Yeah, like,
and this is long.
Like, I don't know, it just is a really weird thing because then all of the conflict too just seems kind of lessened. So you go from this to that dinner, you got like a lot of very high tensions, quite big stakes playing into it. Heck, during the blackout, Abuela dies.
Yes.
And like then just once the blackout's ended, you just kind of feel like, okay, what happened?
Yeah, I know. That's why I brought it up. I don't think it's like a detrimental thing. I didn't mean for it to go like a discussion for it to go on this long, but like, yeah.
Well, no, I do think like that section of pacing in the movie is one of the worst parts.
It is one of the worst paced sections of it. I was like, okay, what's going on here?
The transition from like, I guess, the end of the second act to the third act.
Yeah.
Is just
it's really
rough.
Clunky. Yeah.
And you feel like you drop a lot of the weight, at least, of a lot of the conflict.
Yeah, I don't know. That's part of the reason I was always more of a Hamilton guy, is just because it's so clearly a story about, like, well, essentially two guys. I was going to say one guy. But like it's a very focused story. Very focused.
Whereas
In the Heights is scattered.
Is a very opposite in concept.
Yeah.
And like it's supposed to be like all of the people's stories and dreams on like
it's
in the
supposed
Heights.
to be about all of the dreams in the Heights, yes.
And even the movie doesn't really have time to deal with really anybody else's but Benny, Nina, and Usnavi and Vanessa.
Yeah.
Like that's really all it has time to deal with.
Which, I mean, I'm glad it cracked down more on just a few, like the main quartet, as it were. I don't know what four people is called. I was going to say like quattro, but that's just four.
Quintuplet.
I don't think that's it. It doesn't matter. I'm glad it focused more on just a few characters rather than trying to tackle an entire section of New York.
I mean, yeah, I get that, and I think it could work, but I think they would have had to make and I think it does work, but I'm saying I think it could have worked better.
Yeah.
If they had cracked down a little bit more on the musical like structure, actually reworked more things.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I know a lot of people didn't really want them to change stuff, but I think...
But, I mean, it is a changing of medium.
I wish they would have adapted it a little better rather than... Because, see, like, something like... I'm trying to think of a good example of a stage play that went to a movie and is actually good.
Into the Woods.
Oh, my gosh. That is...
Featuring James Corden.
That is awful. That is so bad, my God. It's not good.
I mean,
I don't know.
Not many musicals.
Yeah, I'm sure there's
movies and do that well.
Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a good example, but I can't think of one right now. But you know, I just wish they would have changed a few more things around to make it fit a movie better and to make the runtime feel a little bit lighter. Not necessarily even make it shorter, just make it feel a little
because
lighter.
You feel this runtime in this one. And it's done on purpose with the blackout because it's supposed to kind of like stop everything dead.
Yes.
But it ends up stopping your momentum dead while you're watching it.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's when I'm the most actively bored watching this movie is right around the blackout. And like even during the club scene, I'm like, okay, but who cares? Like, I mean, the choreography is cool.
I was actually kind of disappointed in the club scene. Because
I know.
It's not really doing much for me. And I like the club song.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I would like that's honestly my least favorite part of this whole movie is just that section, that chunk.
Yeah.
But obviously, Paciencia y Fe is in that section, so I do like that.
Which is like incredible.
Yeah, again, it's a great musical number.
I think I would cite that as the best part of the whole movie. That musical number.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, the lighting in that is so good.
And it's in the middle of just like this really kind of mid chunk of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know. We've been on this for too long.
Well, it's your turn to ask a question.
What? Oh, darn it. What do you think of the performances in this, Micah? Or just the cast in general? Because they recasted Usnavi, which we already stated.
Yeah, I really
do enjoy
love
Anthony
the
Ramos.
cast of Usnavi. I really like Sunny. I really like Nina and Benny. I think the only person I really don't like, and it may just be part of the
just because you hate women, Micah.
Yes, that's why. But I think it's partly because I've never liked Vanessa as a character in general. But I felt like the girl who plays Vanessa's performance was kind of weird. Like I don't know. I could have been direction. It could have been a choice.
Yeah, it could have been just bad direction. Because I was gonna cite. I just honestly don't like her performance in this. I think I would cite her as part of the reason I stuttered around for like 30 seconds. I would cite her as part of the reason I don't think the emotional beats hit me as well as they probably should.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like none of her emotional side of things really come through for me.
Yeah, I was about to say her performance just feels a little stilted, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, neither am I, because like in practice, like when I watched the movie, like on the second watch, I paid specific like close attention to her, because in the first time I watched, I was like, I didn't really like her performance that much, and this time I was like, okay, why
don't I like it?
And like beyond the first song, I think she emotes pretty well, and like I don't have any, like, I can't figure out why I feel like her overall performance didn't feel as emotional as hardly anybody else.
I don't know. I wish I had. When we went into this episode, I'm like, this might be the least qualified I've ever been to talk about a movie, just because I really don't know how I feel about it that well.
Yeah, and like I don't know, because I've never been a big fan of Vanessa's like side of things. I never really cared that much.
Vanessa was one of my favorite characters going into, like, when I first listened through the musical, but I just didn't.
I've never really liked her songs, and I've never really liked her character that much.
More of a Nina guy, Micah.
Much more of a Nina guy.
More of a Benny guy, Micah.
Much more of a Benny guy. But like Nina and Benny are great.
It's true, they are.
But yeah, I don't know, like, and I think especially in the club, it kind of like shows.
In the club.
Like, kind of, if that makes sense, because, like, I have no real connection. I never feel like Vanessa actually even cares about Usnavi.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I still am not sure why. It's weird, but it's weird. One day we'll figure it out.
We'll get to you on the good film criticism one day.
Yeah, we'll just be like, yeah, that's kind of a weird choice, right? I'm sure we'll be able to figure out why it's bad soon. We'd be sure to stay tuned.
Yeah, gosh, what's another good question?
Well, that's a good question, Mike.
Oh, I did want to mention though, I do really like Sonny's performance in this too. He was a highlight for me.
Yeah, he's pretty pretty good.
Another character where I like their performance song wise in this over the Broadway musical.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like Sonny was really a highlight of the whole movie for me. I think he had some of the most energy out of any of like the characters.
Most on-screen energy, Micah.
Yeah.
Is that what you want? I mean, Anthony Ramos has a certain amount of charisma to him, but obviously, like,
I was just saying, like, like, no, I think that's one of the things that this movie does really well, is if you get like a group of the cast together in a scene, they usually have pretty darn good energy off of each other.
Yeah.
Like, it feels pretty natural for the most part, except for kind of Vanessa.
Yeah. You know, one thing that was kind of odd? It's got me really nostalgic for my childhood. The first time I watched this movie.
Same, actually. But maybe that's because we grew up around a bunch of families from the Bronx.
I was about to say, we grew up around a bunch of Puerto Ricans who were from the Bronx. Is probably why, but yeah. No, I'm Dan.
Like, that was literally our childhood.
Yeah, I miss them.
Man, yeah.
Hey, if you guys are listening to this,
I miss the food too.
Hey, I still don't like Puerto Rican food.
Man, you're missing out.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's at.
I don't get it, man. The flavor palette, it's never
so good.
I never liked it.
Yeah, no.
But anyway,
this movie made us strangely nostalgic for not having any like Latino background or being.
I know, right?
From New York.
We're not from New York. We've never even been to New York. We haven't even visited Puerto Rico. I don't know why. I mean, we did grow up, like, our main friend group when we were growing up was mostly Puerto Ricans from New York. So I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
It's just kind of weird.
It's just kind of odd that
we got
this
very
movie
nostalgic from this movie.
Made me nostalgic. Yeah, no, it was just something to point out. A personal bias, maybe you could say. But I just wanted to address it. I haven't asked yet. What's your favorite, like, non-musical scene? If you had to pick one.
Non-musical scene.
Like, if you had to pick a favorite scene that's not a musical number.
I gotta think of those scenes, because most of the dialogue scenes I can think of usually lead directly into song.
Well, I mean, you could pick one of those if you want.
I really like a lot of just like the conversations between Nina and Benny. I think they were a really big highlight of the movie in terms of performance and writing.
They do have a fun dynamic in this.
Unfortunately, they I think at least one of their songs is completely cut out.
Yeah,
And, like,
Sunrise. I was so upset. That was like one of my favorite songs from the stage play.
They don't even get as
snip.
much screen time as I like, because Benny's always been one of my favorite characters just in general. And then like pretty much anything with Nina. I think Nina is really honestly a big highlight of this movie overall.
Yeah, no. Honestly,
Nina and Usnavi,
I
Nina
would
and
say
Sunny.
I would say Nina honestly it might be the best handled arc in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously Usnavi's is pretty well handled. I think that's the core of this movie.
Yeah, the core of the movie is
I think it's
essentially
pretty.
Usnavi.
I think it's pretty good, but I think Nina's is probably the best adapted one to fit into the movie.
Like, and honestly, I feel like Nina kind of overshadows Usnavi a lot of the time in this movie. Like, her story is just so much more compelling in the movie, like, than Usnavi wanting to go to the Dominican Republic.
Can't wait to go to the Dominican Republic, guys.
Like, she's got a very, like, personal, heartfelt story that has to do with, like, racism and systematic oppression.
Yeah, I was...
and like Usnavi's like, Dominican Republic, best days of my life.
Best days of my Wow.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, you could have made this movie about, like, Nina, Benny, and Sunny, and I probably would have been like, yeah. I probably would have been like, yeah, Usnavi's over there doing whatever.
Yeah, he's doing whatever. He's got his bodega.
He's got the store and sure he's poor or something like that.
Yeah, sure he's poor, but at least he's got the store, I guess.
Something about legacy.
Oh, it's a Lin-Manuel Miranda musical, something about legacy.
But yeah, what do you think of, like, the whole legacy thing? Because it's a big thing, like, for Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it's a big thing, like, it's kind of what the stage musical is about. Like, it's all about the legacy of of the
They
Heights.
left for me.
But
He's gonna sing the songs.
I feel like legacy is, like, mentioned in the finale of this too. Like, he's like, oh, the legacy of all these people, but I feel like it's very weirdly done in the movie, just because...
I mean, it is pretty plain that, like, that's the reason he stays, is because to help preserve the legacy.
Yeah, it's where...
Yeah.
As much as Dominican Republic had his people, in the Heights was his people.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's the whole message of the movie, which is a very sweet message.
Yeah.
Very. Just have the sweet message disclaimer. It's a very sweet message.
But, like, I feel like that kind of thing was, again, weirdly done.
I mean, it just feels kind of like... I don't know how to explain it.
It's that vibe that this whole movie has.
Yeah, where it just feels kind of tacked on, because not tacked on necessarily, but like it just feels weaker. Everything kind of feels watered down compared to the musical, just because it didn't have enough time for it.
Except for the musical numbers, which are amazing.
They are quite good, yes.
And that's the really hard thing about this movie.
Yeah, that's what's so tough. Like
hard to talk about, especially because
if it was just like if you just cut out all the dialogue scenes and just did all of the musical numbers back to back, I would probably rate this higher. Just like not as a film, obviously, like just as like the musical numbers adapted from the stage play.
Yeah, like it's really hard to talk about because the musical numbers are so prevalent in the movie. They are the highlight of the movie, but they're so much better than most other things in this movie that like you end up you talk about something else other than the musical numbers and you're just kind of like, yeah, it's just kind of feeling.
That's why I bumped it down from a 4, I think, is just because every time they're not singing, I'm just like, wow, this is just not...
It's not even bad.
Great. Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's just not that great compared...
Yeah, like, and you have so much visual momentum. You have so much, like, obviously just musical momentum. You have so much going in.
Yeah, the score's really good.
Visually, score-wise, the actors are doing amazing. Even, like, Vanessa, during her songs, does an amazing job.
Yeah, no, she's great.
And, like, all of that comes in, and, like, the songs are just so, like, yeah, the songs. Yes. And then, like, you go after the songs, and you're just kind of like, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Though it did make me think of two things that I did want to bring up.
Okay.
What do you think, because I know you mentioned this the other day, what do you think of the editing?
Okay. Well, you see, I'm not a huge fan of the editing, and this is coming from a guy. I would not cite myself as a professional editor at any standard.
Technically speaking, you do get paid to edit videos.
I do edit as a profession, but not in a narrative sense. So
Yeah.
I'm not qualified to fully critique this as an editor, but I just think the way they cut in a lot of the scenes just makes it feel really clunky. And I've used clunky so many times. I just feel like that's the best way to sum up how the dialogue scenes feel in comparison to the musical numbers, which even in the musical numbers, I'm not crazy about how they shoot it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. The music is just so freaking good from like just the word go.
Just day
because
one. Like,
yeah, I was about to say the music is
incredible.
amazing. So it's kind of hard. Like, and the choreography is really good too. I'm just not a fan of the stuff they choose to show a lot of the times, like just the way they cover a lot of the scenes that they do, especially like indoor dialogue scenes, I think just feel really odd and like oddly claustrophobic a lot of the times.
Yeah, which again could be a lot of the choice, like like our mom even mentioned while we were talking about this beforehand, like before the podcast, because we were talking about some interesting things like New York being kind of gray feeling and things being kind of claustrophobic, and she's like, well, that's because New York's kind of gray and it's really tight in space.
Yeah, it's just it feels like an odd thing to make Usnavi stay here when we're like kind of uncomfortable in a lot of the scenes.
Yeah, I think the thing is it comes down to the filmmaking, not the actual space itself. Because you can have the tiny space, you can have the gray, but it's filmed like you're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Micah, you can have a 3-foot wide room and shoot it like it's like a freaking auditorium. It doesn't matter how big your space is.
Yeah, like. Kind of, and it's not as extreme, obviously, but it reminds me of like Les Mis, the way they shoot it in Tom Hooper's Les Mis, or even in Cats, the way they film spaces in those movies is very jarring and claustrophobic, and you feel very uncomfortable in the spaces.
Yeah, and it's obviously not as extreme as that.
Both of those are very extreme cases where they're trying to make you feel that way.
I was about to say, it's supposed to feel kind of claustrophobic.
But you kind of get that vibe from just the way it's shot. Not even like the production stuff in it or the characters or anything.
Yeah.
But just from the very way that a lot of the dialogue scenes are shot.
I wish the cinematography had a bit more of a say, like a bit more of a voice in this. It just feels like functional. It doesn't even feel that functional, but it feels functional. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything.
But man, it looks darn good in a Velas song.
That's true. It does look good, but that's mostly the lighting, Micah.
I think that song is like I've said it like twice, but like it's just peak everything in the movie.
No, that's when it's at its best.
Peak lighting, editing, cinematography. The songs, I don't know, the song is amazing.
Yeah, I don't know, it's good. Like in reference to the editing though, it's just most of the time kind of clunky. Yeah,
and it is weird too. I know I said I didn't want to compare it to the musical that much, but that's a song they change completely to bring over into like they keep it similar sound and everything, but like they change its use in the musical completely.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanna like revisit this after I've seen the musical, like the stage version.
Man, and it's actually kind of interesting because one of those families that was from the Bronx,
that we mentioned earlier. Yeah,
that we mentioned earlier. Their mom did a stage version.
Yeah, she was one of the hairdressers,
and I would have loved to see it, and we never went to it.
That would have rocked, man. We were a little young. I think,
we were a little young for In the Heights, but
it would have been cool.
It would have been cool.
But yeah, Is there any other big things you wanted to bring up?
I was going to actually mention that I really like the score of the movie beyond just the musical numbers.
I mean, I kind of said that before, that it had a good score, but like obviously I didn't elaborate on that.
Like, I really like, a lot of times they use a lot of musical motifs, not even just from the normal musical soundtrack, but they make some of their own motifs throughout the movie that they use.
Oh, I didn't notice any original motifs, but there might have been. I wasn't paying that close of attention.
And like, I don't know, like it gives the movie, which a lot of times isn't shot the nicest, a very nice vibe wherever you're going. You feel very outside anyway. Outside you feel very at home when the way they shoot it and the way they use the music. You feel very relaxed. You feel very like, this is.
I want like a sitcom with the In the Heights like motifs as the scene transitions. It'd be very, very pleasant.
I love that one that they used in the finale. The one that's like the doom doom.
Oh yeah. No,
they use that throughout, and I love that motif.
It has such a cool sound in the movie soundtrack. Like in the show, it always sounded kind of odd, I thought. But like
because they bass boost the show. They bass boost it. It sounds like you're just like, ooh.
Yeah, no. That's the thing. I just absolutely adore the music from this, and everything else I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think overall, like when you're watching the musical, I don't think it really is like when you're watching it just blank, the only thing you really get from it is that it feels a little long.
Yeah.
And like if you weren't paying that close of attention, if you weren't trying to figure out why it feels so weirdly paced in there, I think it would come down to like it's just like a fun movie, and I think it is. I give it 4 stars. I think it's like a genuinely really fun movie. It's got some really great stuff. I would have loved to see it in theaters. It's got some amazing songs, some amazing set pieces for its songs.
The finale is so fun too,
and like.
So it's a heartwarming finale.
I feel like it plays into like a lot of how I feel about a lot of movies that have released in 2021 though, that they feel underwhelming in a way. Like if you look at my top 3 from 2021, I'm like, yeah, those movies, and then I'm just also kind of like, yeah. Like I feel like we had like out of my top 3, they all kind of had this. They all have this really weird vibe where they're hitting a lot really well. Like even Luca, like what we just watched.
We might do that on next week.
The animation and the vibes and the characters and everything that they have hit really well, but it's kind of undertoned by the story being kind of weak.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, I haven't run across a movie from this year that I've thought is like a masterpiece or anything. It's just all of the ones that I really have liked from this year just have like one thing that like kind of holds them back from being great, and it's kind of sad.
And I think if you had to sum this up in one thing being holding this movie back, I would say the adaptation.
Yeah, it is.
Because and I know that's like stupid for a lot of people who are like, oh, why are you comparing? I'm not even saying from a comparing standpoint. I'm saying from the fact that they pulled it over, that some of the elements feel very choppy just because they're not written directly for the movie. You know?
Yeah,
they could have reworked it more to make it feel much more natural in a movie.
Yeah, I think it did do this well. I was gonna say I wish it was more of a like spiritual adaptation of In the Heights rather than like a direct adaptation of In the Heights,
which it does.
It does do that in a lot of ways because it changes a lot from the stage play. But like, I wish it was almost more that, like, it would have maybe dropped more elements for the benefit of the movie, not necessarily just to drop them.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, and again, this would be a lot from the movie standpoint, if you completely reworked some of the soundtrack. Because a lot of the stuff in this is built around the soundtrack. Because the soundtrack is so good. And I feel like if you sat Lin-Manuel Miranda and some of the writers down, you could have reworked a lot of the songs even more so. Because I think some of the reworkings they have to even fit around the movie, like I was saying in the opening number for In the Heights, feel clunky. They don't feel... And then you have the entire movie that they're kind of just working around the story that's in the songs.
Yeah. I don't know. It's odd. It's an odd movie, I should say.
Again, the best instance of them taking a song and adapting it to fit what they wanted to in the movie would be Abuela's song, that is used in a completely different way, but works really, really well in the movie.
Yes. But yeah, are you ready to get into closing thoughts, Micah? Any other big things?
Yeah, I can't really think. I mean, I think you give this movie a little less on its color than I think it has. Like, I really like its use of color. I think it stays pretty bright for the most part, like saturation-wise, and even when it's inside in certain locations, it feels very natural for its coloring for me.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't like saying like, oh, this is the worst use of color I've ever seen.
Like, I never thought it looked gray.
I mean, but like, I don't know, it wasn't like a huge thing for me. That wasn't what was holding it back from being good.
I just wanted to mention, like, I thought the colors in this were actually, like, I thought visually this movie, besides its cinematography during, like, a lot of its dialogue scenes, I think visually this movie really pops.
Huh, well, that's your opinion. I don't think it does. But yeah, that's just me. I don't know. But let's get into our closing thoughts. Let's wrap this up.
All right.
Alrighty. So I guess I should sum it up since you were talking for, I don't know. You were the last one to say something, Micah.
Yeah.
So I will start. To sum up my thoughts on In the Heights, I think it is a musically great but very kind of clunky movie that's an adaptation of a very good Broadway show. But then again, like I said, I've never been the biggest fan of the show. This does remedy a few of the problems I had with it, of it just kind of being unfocused, but it doesn't totally remedy them, just because it is also kind of unfocused, just lesser, which I think is a bit to its detriment as a movie. But it has a sweet third act, a lot of good musical numbers, and I'll probably fondly remember it as one of my favorites from this year, 2021. What about you, Micah?
For me, I think I have this as my favorite from 2021 so far, and I think I would stick with that.
Spicy.
Like I really, really enjoyed this movie, even though it has some interesting stuff in it, like pacing wise. You definitely feel that transition to the second and third act, like we mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
But like it's just so endearing to me. I really think the cast does a great job, and the songs are great. And at the end of the day, that and just like the vibe you get from the movie, I think really becomes just In the Heights, you know?
Yeah.
Like even if it has some really sloppy stuff here and there, at the end of the day, it gets that. The cast, the songs, and just like the aesthetic and vibe, even from the score.
It like I said, Micah, it feels like In the Heights. And
Yeah.
I don't even like In the Heights, and I admire it for that. It feels like the show.
And I really just enjoy that, especially from somebody who's never had an opportunity to go see the show, even though I've been such a huge fan of the musical soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I just really like it for what it is. And I know most people I know who have watched this, who've never had listened to the soundtrack or anything or seen the musical, really love the movie. And I think that's great, because I do think it's a really well done movie. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's visually exciting. And even though you don't,
I just really think it's kind of bland, Micah.
Well, the cinematography is bland.
Yeah.
The cinematography is bland throughout, even the songs.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, like this is just, it's kind of, and maybe it's nostalgia, because it really is a nostalgic movie for me.
Yeah.
And it just kind of blends together into being something that I really think of fondly. And even when I watch it, I may tune out for a bit here and there, but it really is just like, it's just a good feelings.
Wow. Comfort film, Micah?
Yeah, it's much more of a comfort film than anything else that's come out this year for me.
I see. I would cite Mitchell's versus the Machines as more of a comfort film for me.
See, and I never got that.
Yeah.
From Mitchell's and versus the Machines.
Well, maybe it's because you have no taste, Micah. Wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess if that's the end of that.
I actually have another comment.
Okay.
I figured out what I was doing wrong against
Oh my
electric
gosh,
cannon.
no.
I was using a metal shield to block, and metal,
Oh my
of course,
gosh, you
conducts
idiot.
electricity.
Micah.
So, yeah, the electricity was still affecting me against, yeah.
You didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about
Wow.
it. It's just my
that
most,
would have been my first thought.
it was my most
Okay.
powerful shield, so. But yeah, I figured it out.
Maybe I just used too much real world logic in video games, because that would have been the first thing I thought of. I was like, what do I have on me that's metal?
If I was smart, I would have thought about that, because metal, like especially in getting into this divine beast, like metal and electricity is a really important factor.
Wow.
And I didn't even think about it.
Okay, well, we're not even talking about In the Heights anymore, Mike.
Well, yeah, we just did our close.
Okay, well, let's get into our final segment, wrap this up. We're going to do what we watched.
Which I don't think we've watched much, but yeah. Freeze. Hey, you owe me a bottle of cold champagne. Are you moving? Just a little credit check and I'm on that downtown train. Well, your coffee's on the house. Okay. Usnavi, ask her out. No way. Well, see you later. So... Smooth operator. Oh, dang, there she goes. Yo, bro, take 5. Take a walk outside. You look exhausted, lost. Don't let life slide. The whole hood is struggling. Your times are tight, and yet you're stuck to this corner like a street light. Do.
Oh, my gosh.
Fine, I won't finish the number.
No, don't do it. Like, don't torture the people.
I could do the whole song.
I know. Anyone who has been in musical theater could do the whole song. My God,
hey, that's not true.
It's the rule.
Hey, I got to, when we were performing one time on the we were setting up on the stage. They were testing the lights for the first time, and when they turned up the lights, I was like, lights up in Washington Heights up at the Brigade.
Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's go over what we watched in the past week.
Starting from the 15th, right?
Yeah, starting from June 15th or 14th. I don't know.
No,
whichever.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, I watched this after we did the podcast.
After we did the episode, though?
Yeah.
Because I think... Yeah. Are you sure?
Yes.
We didn't put it out?
I did it while I was editing the podcast.
We didn't put it out on the 14th.
Like, I did it while I was while I was editing the podcast.
Which means it wasn't in last podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I was asking.
No, that's what I was saying.
Well, then just say the movie.
Okay. While I was editing last week's episode, I watched Scanners.
I was working like an honest worker.
Wow, you don't call the podcast work, Micah?
We've made like $2.
Okay. Actually, I think we've made like $5 now.
Oh.
But, I mean, we've rented movies that are worth more than that, so we really lost money on this deal. But, yeah, Scanners. David Cronenberg, 1981. One of my favorites from the 80s, actually, believe it or not. Not perfect, not great, really, by anyone's standards.
I wasn't a big fan of it when I watched it before.
I really liked it on a rewatch. Actually, it was a lot more disturbing this time around. But I mean, I feel like that was just me not being on edge watching an R-rated movie with my mom. Like, I don't know what the heck's going to be in this. Please don't let it be super edgy.
I like to think it increased the watching of Eraserhead for the first time.
Wow.
At like 2 a.m. with my mom for the first time ever turning it on.
But yeah, Scanners, David Cronenberg. I do recommend it. It's very obviously an inspiration for Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I said it was the Stranger Things prequel, and I could stand by that. You could make a fan theory. It would
you
work.
Really could.
It really could be a Stranger Things prequel. So if you're into that sort of thing, go check it out. It has some great, like, fantastic practical effects in it.
Indeed.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. 4 out of 5.
All right. So on the 15th, I think that's the next movie. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We watched Invisible Man, rewatched Invisible Man. I was working at the time, I think, if I recall.
Yeah, we were both working on stuff. I think I don't remember what I was doing.
I was rewriting my script.
That's how good the movie was, Micah. I
was rewriting my script for the video that has to come out like in this next week that I'm going to work on today.
Micah, you could see the man.
But The Invisible Man is still pretty well made. This was a rewatch. It's still pretty well made, but I really dislike it still from like a screenplay standpoint. I just don't like the story.
Which I get that. I could see not liking it for that reason. Like, honestly, I think that's its like its biggest weakness is its screenplay is like kind of
like the
weak sauce.
The filmmaking is really well done.
Phenomenal.
I love the sound design, the cinematography, the visual effects. Like the cast is incredible. I love the cast.
Looks great, man.
but I just really hate the story.
This movie made me an Elizabeth Moss stan.
An Elizabeth Moss stan.
I almost said Elizabeth Moth.
The invisible moss.
She's turning into to a moth.
Oh no,
bro!
Yeah.
What if it was like Wilbur or something, and she like not Wilbur? What is the name of that? Charlotte's Web. And she was like a moth.
Wow, I almost
was Elizabeth Moth.
I almost gave it 3.5 this time, but the filmmaking is just so solid. I gave it a 4 still.
Yeah.
Then we watched on the 16th Box Trolls for the first time. I think it was the only Laika movie we hadn't seen yet.
I want to say maybe.
Yeah, it's the only Laika movie we hadn't seen.
Cool.
And it sure makes sense why it's Laika's least popular.
Yeah, no, it's pretty easily, I think, their weakest. Maybe did they do Corpse Bride?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, no, I would say it's probably their weakest.
Yeah, I don't even like Corpse Bride that much or Missing Link.
Yeah, Missing Link's pretty weak sauce too. It's pretty mid.
but like this is just so forgettable. Like I didn't like it when I watched it, but I already kind of forgot it.
Bro, I said while we were watching it, I'm like, if 6-year-old me got his hands on this movie, it would probably be my least favorite movie, you know?
And the one thing I'll mention is that it's got such a tone problem. It's not even funny.
Oh my gosh, it's really awful, actually.
We go from like murder and genocide to like really weird cheese jokes.
I don't like it. I don't like the energy of this movie.
Yeah, I don't like the energy. I don't like the cheese energy. That scene when they sit down and try the cheese. I hate that scene. That's one of my least favorite scenes in cinema.
Well, I mean, at least Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are kind of funny in it.
Yeah, they're fun.
But that's about it. I mean, the one girl, whoever they got to voice act for the girl.
Winnie?
Yeah. Ellie Fanning, she's pretty good in this.
Yeah, she gives a good performance. I just didn't like her character.
Yeah.
Character's annoying.
I mean, I liked her more than the main character.
Dude, what? She's so annoying.
She is kind of annoying, but who cares? It was better. It was better than
the only
whatever.
characters I liked were like Nick Frost and what's his face? I don't remember the actor's name.
I don't know who you're referencing.
Like, he voices in Soul. Richard. I don't know how to say his last name.
I don't know.
But yeah, he voices one of the thingamabobs from Soul.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, they were the fun characters for me.
Yeah, no, I didn't like much about this. I mean, it was still. I said, here we go. Here's my review. Character design and animation are great. Everything else just isn't my wheel of cheese.
I think the best part of the whole movie is the joke with the two of them at the end.
Oh my gosh.
About the animation.
Just watch this movie so you can fast forward to the end and just go to the end. That's all you have to do. Just hit play and then you're good to go.
Then on the 17th, oh wait, you have, all right, you watched.
Yeah, Micah,
I was working a lot last
I was about to say, Micah, I've been watching a lot of stuff without you. I rewatched The Truman Show. Very good movie. Peter Weir. I need to watch more of his movies because I really like this one. Actually, Truman Show re-entered my top 4 after this. My top 4 favorite films. I hadn't seen it in a while, and I really love it. Definitely my favorite Jim Carrey movie. And one of my favorite movies like ever. It used to be my favorite movie of all time.
The next movie I'm going to talk about should be your favorite Jim Carrey movie.
Okay, well, I gave it a 5 out of 5, and then after that I watched Stay Tuned, which is another 90s movie.
Dude, you gave that thing 3.5.
Which is also TV related. And you know, it's kind of dumb. I will say it's kind of dumb, but it's
3.5.
Okay, should I cite this as a guilty pleasure movie, Micah? I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's that bad. But like, sure, it's stupid, but like, I don't know. I think it's fun. I'm a sucker for a good like TV parody. Like a parody of a TV show or something, and this has like 80,000 of them. So I mean, it's pretty fun. I like it. It's the emotional center, like the emotional core of the movie is just absolutely like the flimsiest thing on the planet. But I think it's fun.
Then on the 17th,
yeah, I gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
we watched Horton Hears a Who for the first time in forever. Again, super nostalgic experience. Also,
I did not have the nostalgia for this that I was hoping.
oh dang.
It was just kind of dry.
Also, I put this in my review that me and my girlfriend met doing a production of Seussical, which is mostly based off of the story of Horton
It's
Hears a
basically
Who.
just Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah, it draws from like tons of Seuss stuff, but it's mostly just Horton Hears a Who.
Yeah, it's really just Horton Hears a Who.
And we were watching it together when we watched it this time.
Whoa. How crazy is that?
So that was fun.
Yeah.
We referenced lines from this movie so much.
That's
we watched
true.
this so much as a kid.
Yeah, dang man. We used to watch this thing all the time.
It's what got me into anime.
That's what got me into oh no.
Jim Carrey's best performance by far.
No.
I gave it 3.5.
I gave it a 3 out of 5.
Then on the 18th,
Yeah.
I watched Dad Napped.
Oh no.
Disney Channel.
That's not what I was saying. Yeah.
This was actually like the era of Disney Channel I grew up with mostly.
Yeah.
And this was like, apparently I didn't watch this when it first came out, but they just grabbed actors from like every Disney Channel show that they had running then and made a terrible, horrifying movie.
The bad movie. They made the bad movie.
like you look at this and you're like, oh, it's that guy from that show. Like every character
Like
is
every
like that
single
guy from that show.
Every single actor in this movie.
But like, man, it was terrible. Like it was really horribly written and really weirdly done. And like I think the main character, I think she is actually schizophrenic just in the movie. Canon.
Wow.
I gave it 1 star.
Oof. Okay.
Then on the 18th, you can now resend your whatever you said.
I think I said like, ooh, yeah, or something like that.
Yeah. We watched Patterson 2016 for the first time.
First time. Oh my gosh.
And it was literally a freaking masterpiece. I put it in my 4 favorites. I want to watch it again, like,
it might
immediately.
I honestly, I'm like this close to putting it into my top 20 films. I'm so close to it. Dude, I loved it so much.
It's in my top 4 favorites on Letterboxd right now. It's like everything I put this in my review. It's everything I would want to make a movie like. Like, this is exactly the kind of movie I would want to make. And they have an amazing, like, relationship in it with, like, no conflict, which is beautiful.
Like, it doesn't like relationship drama in movies.
Relationship drama in movies. And this was amazing. More of this.
It's just such a sweet little movie. I don't know.
Right? Like, it's got good conflict, but it's so small and personal that it's not, like, it's just such a relaxing...
Got me crying. It got me reading poetry. What's going on?
Got me laughing. Got me like it's so good, and it's Adam Driver.
It's Adam Driver, and what like might be my favorite performance of his. Maybe Logan Lucky would be a close second.
His performance with Logan Lucky is great.
Yeah, but like this one, he shines so much in this. You guys need to watch this.
We originally, when we turned this on, we were like, oh, we'll watch Marriage Story, make it an Adam Driver relationship double feature, but I feel like that would be so horribly tonally opposite that would be terrible.
Oh man, that would suck.
Especially ending on Marriage Story.
I know, right? Also,
but I gave Patterson 5 stars.
The dog named Nellie, the actress,
the dog
known as Nellie.
It's the only dog I've ever seen make it on Letterboxd.
She won a Palm Dog Award at the Cannes Film Festival when this came out, actually.
Deserved it. Her performance was amazing. Oh
my god, this is like actually...
Like, the dog actually
I'm not
emotes
even
so much.
I'm not even joking. This is like this is the best performance I've seen from an animal in a movie.
I sound like I'm joking here, but like the dog actually emotes so much.
It's so good. Like, I don't get it. I just wanted to bring that up.
Deserves the award.
But yeah, no, this has definitely been one of my favorite first watches, like, in a while. I love this movie.
This and No Country for Old Men in the same month is breaking movies.
I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4.5. I might bump it up on a second watch, but I think it does have a few pacing problems near its latter half. But that's it. That's literally it.
Get off the stage.
Why are you booing me? I'm right. Like...
No, you're not. Then on the 18th, also, we watched Luca for the first time.
Luca!
Which we may do on the podcast last week. But
last
like
week?
I said, I mean next week.
We're going to travel back in time.
We're going to go back in time.
And do Luca on the podcast last week.
We'll do it instead of doing...
what did we do? Forever After?
No, we'll do it instead of doing... Why did I just lose the name of it?
I don't know what you're thinking of, Micah.
Freebirds. Since I just made a Freebirds reference.
Yikes, bro.
But Luca was a breath of fresh air for Pixar. I'll say that, just from an animation standpoint and like a story standpoint. It didn't feel obligated to do the Pixar story. It didn't feel obligated to have the Pixar animation. And it just had such like good vibes. And it was really colorful.
Well, there you go. That's really all I ask for from a movie, is that it's colorful and well shot.
And like, yeah, I have some problems with it, but if we do it on the podcast next week, I'll get into that. But like for now, very much a fan of Luca.
All right, I'll just read my short little, like, 1-paragraph review.
1 paragraph?
It's like 3 sentences, jeez. You wrote like 2 paragraphs.
I wrote like 3 sentences.
Okay. I said it's not quite as tight as it could be, and it doesn't do too much to spice up a plot that we've seen many times before.
many times.
But its spirit and its message are in the right place. Where it really shines is in its central trio of characters. Their dynamic really has some magic to it, which it does.
Right, and they do a pretty darn decent job with that stupid plot point that everybody always does with the 3 people and then one person gets jealous. I hate that.
I also added it's nice to see a departure from the traditional Pixar animation style.
The animation is so nice.
It really is nice. It does look nice. I like it.
And it's not just weird. I don't even know how to describe it. Just Pixar. Pixar always looks the same.
All the Pixar movies look the same.
Even the ones that are very drastically different, like Cars to Ratatouille or something, they look the same.
But yeah, no. Luca was good. Maybe we'll do an episode on it. You'll have to see.
Yeah.
And then we watched In the Heights. Also, big shout out to the Houston Coley Patreon page. If you're not a Houston Coley patron, you should go be one, so you can go watch the technically unfinished cut of Paradoxical, a short film that he was going to release a little while back. It was quite good. And I can't really talk about it with anyone because no one else has seen it. So yeah, go watch Paradoxical on Houston's Patreon.
Keep watching, you'll see the late nights.
No,
with
my
beans and rice serves the shaved ice.
Gosh,
I won't ever say it twice.
But yeah, go watch Patterson. Go watch Luca. Go watch The Truman Show.
Go watch In the Heights.
Go watch In the Heights. Yeah,
do it. Try it. See what it's like. See if you have a taste for it.
If Scanners sounds like your thing, go watch Scanners. Wow,
it's kind of boring.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Adios.
I get it. You said adios.